Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Haley Stevens of Michigan.
Congresswoman, thank you for joining us. So the vote in the Budget Committee was 16-21. This Punch Bowl has this reporting that says Johnson hits the wall. This is from today. I'm going to read from it. If the Louisiana Republican gives in too much in the hardline conservatives in the House Freedom Caucus, moderates will bolt. If Johnson tracks too much toward moderates on an issue like SALT, the House Freedom Caucus and the rest of the GOP conference will bolt. It seems to me he's between a rock and a hard place, but isn't that what leadership is all about?
Well, and it's very clear that this bill is just one big power grab by the rich and the powerful. That's what it is. And it's all coming at the expense of hardworking Michiganders, hardworking Americans. You know, Simone, 750,000 Michiganders would lose their health care. That's what this bill is. Our manufacturing industry in Michigan would take a huge hit. We would see job loss, and it's absolutely unbelievable. And so, look, Mike Rogers didn't actually hit a physical wall. Otherwise, we'd be saying, okay, is he okay? But the reality is that this isn't going to work for Michigan. And it's one of the reasons why I put up my hand to run for the United States Senate here in Michigan to replace the retiring and outgoing Gary Peters next year, because Donald Trump and Elon Musk are causing chaos and confusion at every step. This will do nothing but harm people in my great state of Michigan, and I will not stand for it.
Congresswoman, let's zoom out for a moment with headlines regarding Moody's rating downgrading the U.S. ratings to AA1. This one-notch downgrade on our 21-notch rating scale reflects the increase over more than a decade in government debt and interest payment ratios to levels that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns. That is a consequence of what we've seen happening in the economy since Donald Trump has come into power. Then let's narrow the focus a little bit more to your backyard. Detroit Free Press, Trump tariffs will slow Michigan growth. State officials agreed May 16th to revise downward state revenue projections by $456 million over the next 2 years, largely due to President Donald Trump's tariff policies, which one forecaster said will cost Michigan 13,000 jobs from the auto sector alone. So to your very important point about the impact that this economy, as it is being reshaped by Donald Trump, will have on Michiganders, you're finding this sort of effect where there's a statewide, a national effect where our bonds and our credit is less valuable. And then closer to home in the states themselves, where jobs will be lost and economies will shrink.
No, I'll tell you, Michael, my life has been defined by these tough and uncertain moments for Michigan and putting up my hand to do something about them. Way back when, in the administration of Barack Obama, I put up my hand to serve as the chief of staff on the U.S. Auto Rescue. This is when General Motors and Chrysler were staring bankruptcy and liquidation in the face. And we came together not only to save those companies, but save 200,000 Michigan jobs. And I'll tell you, right now, the things I am hearing from Michiganders are exactly what I was hearing during the Great Recession, except for this time it is self-inflicted. People are worried about their jobs. They're worried about small business. I mean, if you own a small business, you're seeing everything you've ever worked for, being squeezed. You might potentially be losing it all. And it's coming down from these reckless, unbelievable, shoot by the hip, change by the minute tariffs that are not working for the people of Michigan and our auto industry. And yet again, Michael, this is one of the reasons why I am running for U.S. Senate, to put a stop to the chaos agenda from Donald Trump and Elon Musk. This is coming straight from them, and it's not working. Look, Michael, I have written bills to stand up for entrepreneurship, Black businesses that need support, that small business, the ingenuity of hardworking people, like my own parents who had a small business in landscaping when I was growing up here in the great state of Michigan. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they don't have it right. And all their chaos and confusion is doing is wreaking havoc on people's lives when they can least afford it. Look, the grocery bill's high right now. People have knots in their stomach. They're putting the basic goods of life on a credit card, let alone the big ticket items like housing and automobiles. Donald Trump said he couldn't care less if auto prices go up. That's not called for.
So, Congresswoman, I hear you on Trump. I hear you on Elon Musk, but I also don't think that we can ignore the role that congressional Republicans have played in this chaos, which is why I think it was notable to all three of us that today they were singing a slightly different tune. I want you to take a listen. This is Representative Ralph Norman. This is before the committee vote, where he says, yeah, I saw Donald Trump's tweet telling me what to do, and I decided to do something different. Take a listen.
President Trump tweeted. I saw what he tweeted. Yeah, wants to get it done. I do too. But we want to put forth his policies, which we're doing on the IRA, making them phase them out. I mean, we want to give the president what he needs, and I trust him on it. But the devil is in the details on this stuff. And the IRA credits, the illegals, the able-bodied, is something we've got to work with.
And Congressman, whether it is in the House of Representatives or in the United States Senate, you will have to work with those folks. Is your sense that they are in any way pivoting away from this president?
Well, look, I have only seen legislation that comes down from Donald Trump's directive calling for a big, beautiful bill. And if folks want to join Democrats like me in expanding Medicaid, not only protecting and preserving it, but expanding it, dealing with the rising costs, we're all still waiting to deal with that. And yet just the other week, we were taking ridiculous votes that weren't going to do anything to tackle the rising costs that people are facing, particularly in my state of Michigan. And so we've seen time and time again with this reckless and chaotic agenda that most Republicans in the Congress are gleefully rubber stamping. And in fact, Mike Rogers, who's running for United States Senate in Michigan, said he wants to rubber stamp Donald Trump's agenda. And I'll tell you, Alicia, I have passed bipartisan legislation. I was just named one of the most effective lawmakers in the Congress because I get things done like the CHIPS Act or the Building Blocks of STEM Act. But this moment that we are in right now, where we see STEM grants being canceled, tariffs coming down at a rapid pace that is so head-spinning for the people of Michigan and our auto industry and the way that our economy works. It's not just an attack on the policy itself. It's the fact that if you work in purchasing and automotive and you don't know your price points, then you can't buy the widgets for the door panel that goes into the final assembled car. It's not working for people. So I guess we're on hold in terms of Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, but I'm going to be voting to stand up for people's Medicare and Medicaid, and I'm going to be standing up for Michigan's manufacturing economy and these factories that have been being built and that are leading the future for all of us.